Hello, my name is Racine, and this is part 2 of the visual analysis presentation. The visual I'll be talking about is titled Artificial Intelligence Taking Human Jobs, and it was created by Dick Wright, a veteran cartoon creator who gains inspiration from topics of politics, socioeconomic issues, and technology. The purpose and main argument of this cartoon is to humorously but critically comment on the fear of job displacement caused by AI. Mr. Wright utilizes all three of the rhetorical appeals, but I'll only be focusing on two, logos and pathos. This visual makes a logical claim through imagery and analogy rather than empirical proof like statistics. In this cartoon, the reasoning is simplified and is symbolic of its real-world applications relevant in many industries as work environments. Premise 1 is that AI is on the rise and is rapidly advancing. Premise 2 is that AI systems are gaining the ability to take on tasks traditionally performed by humans. In conclusion, the rise of AI has the capacity to threaten human job security. To demonstrate, the author illustrates how 1. AI is developing, and Wright does this visually by making the robot bipedal and with human-like features, including eyes, a nose, a mouth, and fingers. And 2. How human labor is slowly being replaced by AI technologies, which is a reality for many individuals, making it a common truth through its relatability. That specific observation leads to the general conclusion that AI is taking or is bound to take human jobs. This argument is inductive because it uses specific observations to reach a bigger idea. Now, inductive arguments don't guarantee truth, but they do highlight patterns and suggest conclusions, which is what the author attempts to do here. With the help of Microsoft researchers, Fortune released a list of occupations most affected by generative AI, and they are interpreters, historians, and sales representatives. That's not to say that AI can fully replace them, just that AI's main functions, such as translating, writing, analyzing, and summarizing, overlap with those occupations, making them susceptible to replacement. This argument is strengthened by grounding it to real concerns, like self-checkouts replacing cashiers, AI tools replacing office work, chatbots replacing customer service, and automation replacing factory workers, all of which reflect a historical trend of labor being replaced by technology. The fictional element, the giant robot confronting the worker and demanding the human seat, dramatizes that reality. Logos encourages viewers to think critically about AI's impact on employment, but pairs it with satire to avoid the harsher tension usually accompanying controversial issues. Through establishing premises, a conclusion, and an inductive argument, and thereby presenting a logical structure, the issue is framed as both rational and believable to the audience. Additionally, visual evidence mirrors real-world trends which further its persuasion. When the audience understands the message of the comic, they are more likely to support the author's argument, being that the message is one that many are familiar with, such as AI's rapid integration into society and its threat towards human employment. Viewers will more easily sympathize with the author's argument. Now, moving on to pathos, the visual rhetoric attempts to sway the reader's emotions through instilling fear, intimidation, and sympathy within the viewers. It employs tone, color, and emotive imagery to provoke emotional responses that reinforce the argument. This visual is intentionally satirical and meant to be taken with humor. However, sustained inquiry reveal ominous undertones. Let's talk about satire. The robot appears unrealistically huge and aggressive, while the worker looks tiny and powerless. The absurdity of the scenario is powered hugely by exaggeration, making the threat of AI causing human job insecurity both humorous and uncomfortable. If you look at the dialogue, the only dialogue, the robot says, "You're in my seat," which is deliberately blunt, rude, and confrontational. The single command instantly creates emotional tension by positioning AI as hostile and uncompromising. We can also talk about the emotional syntax of the dialogue, being concise and demanding, all caps and strict and rugged writing with an exclamation mark in a way that almost imitates the voice of the robot itself. Color plays a crucial part by deepening the emotional effects. The robot's dark metallic colors paired with a gray cloud of smog and dominating gaze creates a cold, intimidating, inhuman presence. This is in stark contrast to the worker's simple opposite attire that, when compared, makes him look even more fragile and overpowered. At first glance, you can already see a visual contrast, the giant aggressive AI robot and the small frightened human worker. Even the dog cowering behind the desk, mirroring the worker's fear, amplifies the emotional tension. It may even prompt discourse on how AI-driven job loss affects more than just the worker themselves. It also extends to those who depend on them, such as their pet. Combining humor, exaggeration, and visual factors makes the message engaging, despite the underlying tone being meant to frighten, warn, and motivate concern. The visual uses a handful of rhetorical strategies which cause viewers to question the author's initial argument. Overall, it alarms and encourages skepticism to the viewers about AI's rapid integration into the workforce. It evokes concern for the people in the same position as that scared worker. Finally, it promotes reflection on how society should respond. The author's rhetorical strategies not only invite humor and caution, but also investment in the matter, which is important in creating the first steps toward change.